before the dry rations could go, the arms and ammunition could go, Pakistani made an attack on them. Imagine, without the food for 3 days, the Gurkha rifle fellows, soldiers, attacked them and won the war, won the battle there. This is the spirit we gave. We gave means by the act of airlifting them, that we gave them, yes, it is possible to do in the war situation. We can carry you. We can do this. So be ready. Anytime you want, we will come. None of the pens they brought would write. Okay. Special pens were brought for the signature to be read. The pen said, I am on the side of Pakistan. I am not going to write.
Okay, so a warm welcome to all of you. Again, yet another episode of Fauji Talks, and I'm privileged first of all to privileged, and it's a very proud moment for me personally to have conversation with Wing Commander SS Krishnamurthy sir, and though sir stays close by in Powai, and I remember meeting sir in IRS. Probably we don't know each other, and I'm sure the next time, whenever sir is going to come to IRS, I'm going to, home on to sir and get his autograph on the beautiful book. The sir is also an author. So to introduce sir, yeah, so just one sec. Yeah. Wing Commander SS Krishnamurthy sir, he's a helicopter pilot from 31 NDA, 40 regular of IMA. And sir saw the action in 1971 war on the eastern sector as the Airforce four corps combination fought alongside from Agartala, Silhet and Brahmanbaria to lay siege to Dhaka garrison. So the very famous picture, the iconic picture, 1971 war, the surrender of Lieutenant General Niazi, the one which is there, sir's behind, and that person in blue uniform, probably a blue overall, is sir. Then a very young flying officer SS Krishnamurthy. Then and today sir leads a very sir is an auditor. Sir is into after moving out from Ford. Sir begin his second innings, and today is a motivational, very motivational figure. In fact, as we all know, the uh, war to a quick and decisive victory to the Indian Armed Forces. Sir personally feels that today's generation need to be aware of that war which was thrust on us, And when I spoke to sir last, sir was also telling that, why it is important to know about this particular aspect, this particular war. So the younger generation, most of my friends who are here, most of them are aspiring to join the armed forces at some point of the time. Many have already made it. Many are waiting to join the academy. Many are looking forward for their SSBs. So it's such a motivational moment for all of us to hear and listen to sir. He also happens to be in the iconic surrender photograph, as I said, along the generals, air marshals, and admirals, the photograph which is behind him. Ma'am, Mrs. Sudha Krishnamurthy and Sir have also compiled their stories, articles, and narratives into a book form. And the title of the book is rightly kept as Through the Rotor Disc. There's a beautiful book. I had the privilege of reading that book. And the couple have dedicated the sales proceeds to ALC, PRC, and QMTI towards the rehabilitation of the paraplegic. So, there is a center in Pune where the soldiers who are paraplegics or who have met with accidents or some physical casualty or some war casualty are placed there in Pune. So, such a great gesture from sir and ma'am to donate the entire proceedings of the book through the Rotor Disc to this particular cause and initiative. So, not taking much time, sir, a warm good evening, sir. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening to you and good evening to everyone who
Yes,
is.
sir. So, a lot of close to 60 of my young friends are here. And what a moment for them, sir, to hear from you, sir.
So I shall commence my talk with a fresh good evening to all the people, young and the old, who are assembled to talk, listen to the talk. The so-called talk is almost like an autobiography. But at the same time, I would also like to tell you that what is good and what is bad is not in our hands. It comes like that. And when you get a thing like that, you have to make best use of it. And having said that, let me say, I was born in a place called Coimbatore. We all know Coimbatore is in southern India and it's an industrial town, mainly famous for, like Ahmedabad, it is famous for all textile mills. So we had settled down, and dad had a dyeing factory. And then when I was 1 year old, we all shifted to Chennai. World War I had just ended, but suddenly there was a rumor that ship Emden, German ship Emden, was to come and attack Chennai coast. All of us retreated back to Coimbatore, and that was the starting of my experience of the war. Away from the war field, but the war. We went to Coimbatore, and then when the fake mock drill was finished, we all returned to Chennai. And my house, incidentally, was about 3 kilometers from the Airforce station in Tambram. So I won't say that it was a kind of a motivational factor, but yes, when our school was very close to the Air Force station, and we used to see the young airmen getting trained in various trades, it made a lot of pride. It made us a lot of sense to us. Yes, there are people from all over India have come to my place, that is Tambaram, and getting trained. And how will it be if I go somewhere else and get trained? So that seed was, but I was very young. Then, when I was in class 7, we shifted to Chennai town. And there was a choice between Ramakrishna Mission and Christian College High School. And whatever made dad put me into Ramakrishna Mission, I have no question over it, but it made a lot of sense in that it taught me a lot of values, plenty of values, the values which were ingrained into India and the Indian citizens. It continued, and true enough, the young fellow was in the Scouts, Cubs, and obvious choice was NCC Junior Wing, Army, Parade, Route March, and much awaited range firing. So when we went for the first range firing in Pallavaram, very close to airport in Chennai, it was a kind of out of the world moment it was. And after the school, when I joined the college, the choice was to join the senior wing. That is the time I thought of joining the air wing, but in our college, there was no air wing, there was only army, artillery. So I joined the artillery NCC. I am giving you such detail was these are the things which make you think that have you gone in this world, have you come around in this world to do what? And it makes you think. And NCC paved the way because all NCC masters, all the NCC instructors, drill, weapons training, all the instructors used to say, if you people continue like this, you are no match to join the NDA. First time we heard the term NDA, so we were keen what was the NDA like. And those days there was no video, there was no special arrangements. But one of our instructors, Havaldar, had a friend in the films division. So he made arrangements for a 16 picture on NDA. And that was the first ever film I saw about the services, about the armed forces. And it impressed me quite a bit. Why? Because it is not just the academics, it is not just the weapons training, it is not just the thing, It was military history, military geography, academics up to the BSc standards, and all riding, swimming, and range firing, which I was looking forward to the range firing, which was there. So when I saw all this in the syllabus, I said I must apply. Very hesitantly, I asked my dad. Dad said, nothing doing, finish your education, then you do what you want to do. Absolutely fine. Then I went through the application form in detail. I would be just missing the NDA if I finished for my graduation. I was ahead of my age in the school and the college, but at the same time, it wasn't helping me in finishing my BSc to join the NDA. So I went back to daddy again. I said, Papa, this like this. I may miss the chance. I want to go. He said, why did you join from the direct entry? Dad knew much more than me, obviously. I said, no, I want to join the NDA. I want to see the NDA. I have seen the picture. There is an individual training, concentrated training. I want to go through that. Then he took the prospects from me and then went through that thing in entirety. He spent a lot of time in reading over. Then finally he said, okay, you can apply. Why I'm giving this again in detail was when I went to the college principal to say I want to leave education in between and then join the NDA, he was not happy at all. He says no one leaves academics to join in our language, the Fauji is called Patalam. He said, no, nothing like this. You are not going to join that. But I said, same thing I told him. I gave him the prospectus. I told him it is academics. It is all multitude training together. He was not convinced. Now what do? I went back home. I told my dad, kindly fight the case for me. So daddy had a laugh because you had a fight with me and you won. Now I am becoming a devil's advocate. So he came to the college. He convinced my principal, and he was a SJ, Society of Jesus, father, Reverend Father. So to convince him, it takes a long time. And once I convinced, he said, okay, go. I joined in 1964 and passed out of NDA in 1966. It was a momentous 3 years training. Beautiful. I made full use of it. And sometimes, yes, it made extra effort to be in academics because there were so many diversions. Swimming alone took a long time because we were absolutely greenhorns. We didn't know. Right from the swimming pool, floating, swimming, and diving, everything takes time. So we had a lot of things. The games took a long time. Then suddenly this running started. Cross country was new thing for me. But I'm so happy to say that I enjoyed every moment. I enjoyed the training. And after the academy, we went to Bidar, Ahmedabad, Bidar, near Hyderabad, for our flying training. Those days. Go ahead.
I would interrupt you here. Like when you decided that NDA is my ultimate choice, convincing your father and later when you convinced the father of the Reverend Father, the principal. So, how tough or easy was it for you to go to SSB? Because NDA has a procedure, sir. Like it is not at all an easy procedure, written exam and then SSB. So how was it for you, sir? I'm just sorry to bring you back to this
Yes.
question.
The UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, for all and small and big things, right from the clerical examination up to the IAS, IPS examination, they all have one procedure. Entrance examination, interview, after that, the merit list, the medical. Once they put in the merit list, they go strictly by the number you have achieved in the merit, and the calls come accordingly. So in our case, it was an entrance examination, which was not very difficult because entrance examination, I was in the second year, it was not difficult. Okay. But the medical, the interview, these two things which followed had some tough time because you can't just shoot. You can't just tell lies to the interviewer. I want to serve the country. I want to do this. I want to do that. Be very normal, be very natural. Tell them what you felt like, what you learned about the thing, and then say, this is what I want to do. If this is a pattern which I am fitting in, I will be very happy. Yes, in my case, they said yes. Your desires and your attitude is acceptable. You are medically fit. You are psychologically fit. Please remember, there is a psychological test right on the first day. The psychological test is whether you are fit, your aptitude, what you are going to show is telling the truth or not. It will tell you very clearly. Because there are people who come trained to say this, to say that, but their psychological training tells this guy is telling the lie. He's telling the not the truth. Okay, so first day they decide whether you're telling the truth or not, and then whether you are also psychologically, mentally fit. And next day, when they have the SSB, they check you all over. They check you all in all possible manner, what you want to do, whether you are serious about it or not. Then after the third day, when they say you have passed through the SSB, they don't give you the result that time. They say, okay, go for medical. So when we go for the medical, medical is as per your choice. Army, Navy, Air Force. And strictest is the Air Force because of the because of the rest of the medical. So we have to kind of cross our fingers and say. And then they also give a choice that if you don't pass through the medical for the Air Force, whether you want to join the Army or non-technical Navy. That also is the choice is there. Okay, but at the same time, you cannot be just tough and say, okay, no, give me this. There are people who are very, very crazy about the infantry. Like I said, I wanted to go to the Air Force. There are people who wanted to be. Because of the family tradition, they wanted to be in the infantry. Some people said, no, I want to be in the artillery. I want to be in the aeroplane. I want to be there. So those desires all they're taken care of. They interview accordingly. And after that, they tell you, go for the medical. Now, once the medical is through, you go back to normal life. You wait for another month. It takes time for them to put the thing together and correlate the merit list. Once a merit list is made, first 250 or so used to be called. And then for the standby people, you are only hoping that some people don't report. And there are people who join and find that it is too much for them. Because what they expected was a college. And when it is not a college, it is an academy, it is difficult. They say, no, I want to go back to civil life. So there are people in the standby list, they get the thing. I was so proud. On the 3rd of January 1964, I was there in Khadakwasla, Pune, and going through the collection of kit, collection of the squadron badges, collection of everything, and making my mental makeup because the senior guys are ready to train you, to make a man out of you. Okay, and that one experience I want everyone in this world to go through. Bijay will tell you what was his experience. It may be in a different way, but academy, NDA had very clear ideas that you have come from the school, you have come from the college as a civil fellow. You have to be converted into a cadet, a military cadet. So if you are ready, come forward. Otherwise, you go back. 99%. No one cries over the choice they made. Everyone goes through, except very few, except very, very one odd gentleman. They think, no, it's not for me. I'm not for this. I have to go back. They go back. And there are some people who go through 3 years of training and then say, I don't want to become an officer in the services. This training is good enough for me for my life. But this UPSC says, we have spent so much of money. We have spent your time. And you can't say this. Then unless you give a genuine reason and certain amount of compensatory money for the training, you are not allowed to do that. That is also possible. But again, these days the competition is very heavy and the girls are just waiting. If the boys don't join, girls will take over. Girls are in the minor, initially they will be minor by a minority, but after that it is expected they will be 50-50. And one day they might say the boys will be the minority, the girls will take over. So time will see. So all the best to all the aspiring candidates. Work hard, prepare well, and even mock interview. You people amongst yourself go through it and then talk. Do not say, I want to serve the motherland. No, no. These are all only the picture they say. Okay. So you be normal, you be natural, and you will be there. Will that satisfy your question, Vijay?
Yes, sir. In fact, what a coincidence. Like 64, 3rd January 64, you joined, and 33 years later, 3rd January 1999, I joined. The 3rd January was
Oh,
my
beautiful.
birthday. So that was such a coincidence, sir.
Okay.
So how,
And,
how, how
incidentally, my son, he's also in the Navy, in the through NDA. He's in the Navy as an observer. Okay.
okay,
Yeah. So he is also joined somewhere around 90 only. Okay.
okay.
Sorry, not 1998.
What is his
So
name, sir? What is his name?
Nikhil is the name.
Okay,
He's an observer. He's presently in Wellington.
okay, okay. So probably my maybe same course or one course senior junior, maybe. Right. So,
Possibly. He's
yeah.
98th NDA.
98. Okay, I'm 92nd equivalent NDA, sir.
92nd equivalent. Okay,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
to know. You are about 4 5 years elder to him.
So
Okay.
how was your experience in the NDA as a cadet, sir? Were you a very docile cadet or
No,
were you a very harsh
I
and
would
senior?
I would very confidently say I enjoyed every moment. There were many things new to me. There were many things new to me, no doubt about it. But at the same time, it takes only a few seconds to understand. It takes only a few days to get used to. And there are people who have come from various parts of life. There are people who are smarter than you. There are people who can talk better. They can do front roll better. They can do exercise better. But the beauty is the camaraderie is so much that you are you are brought to the line in no time. When I say to the line means you brought on strength. He brought on the strength and the reliability of the other cadets in no time. So I enjoyed, and truly, when I think of somebody saying that, I say yes. That one thing you have to go through. Today, if you ask me, if you have thrown you out, what would you have done? I would have felt bad, no doubt, but at least I went through NDA. You understand the thing? I'm not saying that I would have preferred to throw out. I would have understood that, yes, this is the NDA training which went through, and I've enjoyed it. And that is how the training. Beautiful training from morning 5:30 till the lights off at 10 o'clock. You are not up, you are not 1 minute wasting time. Even your rest period, even your study period is all defined, measured, and given to you. Please study. Okay. And the muster falling, the evening muster, the morning muster, it all goes through without a qualm, without any problem because you are trained into that. But all these, the one cadet will come into the center of the building and say, muster fallen. In the next few minutes, you're all the entire squadron is there. No one doesn't have to say, why are you still sleeping? Come. If you are sleeping, that means you are not well. They will tell you, please go to the hospital and take medicine. So that is also there. It's not the question of shamming, it's a question of being available. So having undergone this training, when we go to the Air Force training looks simple. Why? Because suddenly all your outdoor activity have come down to minimum. This outdoor activity has been taken over by the flying part of it. The academics is not there, only service studies are there. Now we study now about the airplane, about the air battles, about the World War, how the air was used, about this Burma War, how the air was used. Like that, we go through all this and then train. So this is a kind of knowledge gathering thing apart from this. So we had a trainer called HT2. It was all metal, single engine, like a Maruti car. That many number of cylinders it had, and it has one simple propeller. No, it's not adjustable propeller. We used to take off and fly and come back. And first solo was supposedly after 9 hours. Some people take 11 hours, some people take 8.5 hours. But I was somewhere in the middle. So I took about 10.5 hours and I went through. And then from there from Bidar we went to Jodhpur, Air Force Flying College, where the grand palace. Umed Bhavan is looking at the runway all along from takeoff till landing. It's watching you. So people used to say, do the right thing, do not crash. The Umed Bhavan is there to save you. Don't worry. And Umed Bhavan was right on the downwind. That means when you go make a round and come, you can go around it and then come. So be very careful. Do not crash on it. In case if you have to force land, do not land on the Umed Bhavan. Come land other hands. So that was that. And incidentally, after the intermediate stage, when we had trifurcated fighters, transports, helicopters, the helicopter guys stayed back in Jodhpur. So we enjoyed 1 year stay in a grand place like Jodhpur. And again, I told you, the Umed Bhavan. Anyone who is from Jodhpur will enjoy, will understand what I'm talking about. It's a grand, it's on a high ground. It is from the airport. From the airport, you can stand anywhere and have it as a background and photograph. So it is of beautiful structure. Okay. Then after that, 1.5 years, we were all called to Hyderabad. We did a grand passing out parade. And imagine who the passing out parade, the presiding officer was. The presiding officer was I am from 100th course India, 100th course pilots. Air Chief Marshal Lal was from number 1 course.
Oh.
So that also, there are things to remember. So Air Chief Marshal Lal incidentally was the chief during the 1971 war also. That time we came for the passing out as Chairman HAL. From Chairman HAL, he took over as the Chief of the Air Force, Chief of the Army Air Force Staff. And from there he came for the parade. And 1971 war was fought under him. So incidentally, I will bring this reference to Air Chief Marshal Lal again, because when the helicopters flew overnight, when we carried 1,000 people across the river, he said, please check your manifest and come to know whether this number is correct. He couldn't believe that these helicopters, simple helicopters, could do 1,000 people. We are supposed to carry total 9 people in one helicopter. That means how many trips you are supposed to do? 90 trips. In overnight, how many 90 trips you can do? 90 trips? No. So he said, please, how many? Then slowly we told them, sir, we overloaded the helicopter. Instead of 9, we carried sometimes even 17 people we carried in the helicopter, and they were all fully on. The trick was, we didn't take full fuel. We did not take full petrol. The all-up remained the same. And the helicopters carried any number of persons, went across the river and crossed them. Give infantarian chance not to walk, he has saved that energy to fight the war. Otherwise, what the infantry soldier does, he walks up to the arena to fight. By the time he reaches there, he is already tired, no doubt about it. But the fighting is the main thing. So he will fight. So now what we have given him is, we have given him the helicopter lift. And the helicopter lift has given him all the energy he could save for the fighting. So that is where the Dhaka was taken over. We will give you more details as I come to Dhaka and war. But this book also is very simple. I would request all of you to read this book in a very simple manner, in very, very simple terms I have given in this thing. It is not a war book. Please remember that. It is a simple book. You will understand. If you get interested later, there are many other books available on the war in details. Who fought from where, which army came from where, and which Air Force came from which side. So those things you can learn. Read this. Okay. So this helicopter, come back to the helicopter again. This helicopter was a 1962 vintage, the old helicopter. And this came to us when the Chinese aggression took place. And this war was after 9 years. So 9 years is pretty old for a helicopter. But please understand, I'm going to praise someone. You must understand whom am I going to praise. It is not the pilot. It is not the planners. It is our maintenance people. They stayed like us in the field and they repaired, maintained at night when we were not flying, or the daytime when we are not flying, and made it ready again for the flying part of it. The old helicopters, maintained well, gave us No, no duff time, no downtime, no problems as far as the maintenance was concerned. But the maintenance people, we must appreciate. I'm still searching for all of them. One by one, everyone has gone away, retired and gone. Some people have reached the other world also. But at the same time, I want to tell them all, their children, is that what I'm telling you, it is their work, it is their hard work, which made us fly all the helicopters. Sometimes at night, we have flown non-stop. Come and tell him this is a problem. He says, don't worry. You just go have a cup of tea and come back, it will be ready. What the trick they do, we do not know. But the helicopter is ready when you come back. So like that, when we went, we took the thing. Initial trial was in Sylhet. Sylhet is just south of Shillong. If you see the map, the war is something.
So, I would request you, sir, like most of us here, even me to that matter, I would have only read about it, and no one has a first-hand experience as you have, sir. So maybe we would like to hear from the horse's mouth that what was the scenario like, sir, in 71?
Okay, I'll give a very rough example. These days, we watch the cricket match on the TV. Before the TV came, either it was a radio commentary or you go to the ground and watch the live proceedings. Imagine yourself in the war, that is the live proceedings, not the TV. So, what I'm telling you is like what happened in Gita. What is asking, Dhritarashtra is asking, what is happening? Because he can't see, he's asking Sanjay. So, what is happening? So, Sanjay had his own CCTV and then watched this and telling the fight which is going on in this. So, that one, we were actually in the war. War does not mean one versus one, doing boxing and fighting. They're all very, very funny. It is really funny because when the helicopters fly 500 feet above the ground, an ordinary rifle, when you shoot, it reaches us. Okay, a bazooka can do damages to us. When the fighter flies, he comes low to bomb. He comes low, diving to attack, but it is fast. He will make one dive and pull up and go. And the anti-aircraft guns, if they can catch him that time, that is the time he gets injured or the aircraft is destroyed. Whereas our helicopter is all along. What is the speed of 100 kilometers per hour? Kuch bhi nahi hai, 100 kilometers. People who are driving the motorcycle these days in the ordinary road, they are reaching 100 kilometers. Our helicopter maximum speed, that time, I'm not talking about the maximum speed of the helicopter. During the war, we maintained just 100, 120. Why? Because we wanted to carry more people. We wanted to carry more. So when you carry more, your speed comes down. So we had all the danger. But we were all very young and we should say, we didn't know. Supposing we say we don't know what is fear, it will be talking, kind of showing off. But honestly, we didn't know what the fear was like. We had the fire, we had the ground. So when we think that Pakistani army was in that area, some firing could take place, we will just do one dog leg. You know what's that dog leg? Just making go left and come back again right. Or go right and come back. The idea is avoid that crowd. Suppose you see a fellow walking on the road, crossing the road, what do? You avoid it. You are doing a dog leg and going. So similarly, we used to do a dog leg and go away. And then if you think the firing is on, helicopter can land anywhere. And the entire Bangladesh had just finished the harvest. The ground was available with the wheat and rice crops cut. Unfortunately, the stubs were there. There were lots of loose grass. There were lots of loose mud. All these used to get into the engine. All these used to get into the rotors. Our eyes, so we had to kind of protect ourselves from all this. And then pitch dark. There was no light. You can't put the light on. If you put the light on, you're telling the fellow, on the ground that I am here, you shoot me. So we cannot put the lights on. We have to keep the other helicopter inside. We have to fly in formation. So it was all fun and games, I should say, and we had to be very careful, and we did it. We were 17 or 20 or people in the squadron, and all of us, we had just about 4 or 5 seniors. Why? In between, what happened? The very seniors and juniors, we were all juniors. In between, the guys, they were selected and they went for some helicopter training to Russia. All these guys missed the war. So we were lucky, the younger lords, we had the choice of becoming the captains and flying through the war. So when you say the war experience, it was as if it was designed for us. All the guys who are 23, 24, 25 years old. And what should we say? Most of us were bachelors. All of us were bachelors that time. And with no fear, just continue what thing. And then if boss said take 20, we will say 21. If boss said take 10, we used to take 11. So idea was that we have to calculate. I mean, you cannot just blindly do it. You have to calculate how much fuel you have to carry, which distance you have to go, and how much is the load you can carry. So it was all fun. Sometimes they will say, we have to carry this artillery gun. Can you do it for us? Artillery gun cannot enter the helicopter like that. So we should tell them, how long will you take to strip into small pieces? They say, sir, 2 minutes. They are so trained, so beautifully trained, they will just strip it, break it into 3 pieces and put sir one by one. Then when you put all the 3 pieces, the artillery gun weighs so much. He said, be here, we will go and come back. We will go, drop this and come back. Please, in the darkness, we have to know where we dropped them. So these people have to know. So we had our own codes. So they used to come and give us a part. Sir, here is a part which goes there. So we used to go. So all along, it was all, when I say fun and game, don't mistake me. It was fun and games means it was all the using our own brain, using the relied strategies and tactics, and our own flying capabilities. The seniors, our field commanders, saw that the helicopters could do this. The pilots are good. The maintenance is too good. That is why they said, from Sylhet, we will go to Brahmanbaria. From Brahmanbaria, we will go across Meghna and go towards Dhaka. So what happened suddenly? General Niazi, the governor of East Pakistan, and others are sitting in Dhaka. They found the Indian army surrounding them. They thought otherwise, the Indian army will not come anywhere close to Dhaka because there were rivers protecting them. Rivers were like the moats around the castle, like this. That please see the map. You will find the rivers protecting Dhaka. Okay, but they suddenly realized Indian army was crossed the rivers and come and besieged Dhaka. And this is the time General Jacob went and said, quickly surrender. Why? If you don't surrender, we will not do anything to you. We will leave the country. But there are Bengalis who are waiting to kind of given a chance to come and attack you. So you want to come and surrender, come to us or get killed by them. Choice is yours. If you come to us, we will treat you with Geneva Conventions. We will treat you well as a POW, and then you come to us. So they took one full day. Then the next morning, on the 16th morning, 2 Hunter aeroplanes came from Asimara and they attacked the governor's building. And that is the governor's building was the place where the army was having a conference. When they were attacked, they knew that the Indian Air Force is not going to leave them anywhere free. Might as well surrender. On 16th, they all surrendered in the evening. We all had a fun time getting into any kind of helicopters, reaching Dhaka, from there to the race course. But what happens, you must know, is the people are over eager. People are happy that their country has become free. Okay. But what happens is, when you are so happy, when you get carried away, you will do damage without you realizing it. That is the time army took care of that also, that they don't damage They're friendly relations. They don't damage the. Even they were being ruled by the Pakistani army. His idea was not to inflict injuries on them. They have done because of their orders. They got orders to do something, they did it. So army drew a line beautifully. He said, you be within this limit, we will be within this limit. So a word of appreciation to the army that they did well. After that, we came back, and the history says in the World War II, when MacArthur, Douglas MacArthur took the surrender, it was on a ship, a very fancy ship. It was a frigate, no doubt, but when it was fancy, when I say it was made ready for the surrender. And in the civil, it was in the 5-star hotel in Singapore. So there were two surrenders.
Sir, before we move to that question, what is the story behind that photo, sir? The surrender photo,
No, I'm talking about the period before the surrender. I'll come to surrender.
Okay, fine.
These 3 years is in a place. I told you from we did the passing out in Hyderabad.
Correct.
From Hyderabad, we took a train. Those days, the trains were slow and meter gauge, broad gauge, all kinds of problems were there. We took 3 full days, 72 hours traveling to reach a place called Alipurduar. Have you heard of Bagdogra?
Yeah, sir.
Bagdogra is the nearest airport for which place?
Hello?
Bagdogra is the nearest place for Darjeeling. Those who go to Darjeeling and Kurseong, they fly to Bagdogra from Calcutta, and then from there by road. So our place is the train crosses Bagdogra and goes to a place near Alipurduar. There is a place called Hasimara. Initially, I was very tickled by the name. I thought it was sounding like Hiroshima. Okay, so I said, "Are you sure this is Hashimara?" He said, "It's not even Hashimara, it is Hasimara." Okay, so we went there. It is a fighter station, and we were in the helicopter unit. Our job was cushy job. You know what was the job like? We had to fly the royal families of Bhutan and Sikkim. And every time we flew the royal family of Bhutan, he gave us chocolates. Handful of chocolates. Okay. Before I went, I believe people got watches. By the time we went, we started getting chocolates, not the watches. But it was fun carrying the royal family. The present, we went to Bhutan a year back just to try to remember the olden days. And I asked lots of questions. They said, please come again. We will go and meet everyone, whomever you want to. So we are still planning. One day we will go. We'll let all this Mr. COVID go away. We'll make a big trip to. I think some people, whoever wants to join us also can join us. We'll make a big trip. Okay. So we went to Hasimara. From Hasimara, we flew all these people. We flew this thing. And then one thing I remember in Hasimara was there was heavy rain, there were heavy floods. There are 3 rivers which go from India into Bangladesh. 3 major rivers. 2 major rivers everyone knows, Brahmaputra and Ganga. There is one river which comes from Sikkim, and there is not so big river, but it also enters from where I was posted after Hasimara. That is called Badak River. Okay, so all these rivers, when they go, before they reach Arabian Bay of Bengal, the entire Bangladesh is waterlogged. During rainy season, entire Bangladesh is literally, not totally, but literally waterlogged. How they do their rice crop is extra long. Their stem is extra long. You are aware of it, Bijay?
Not very much, sir.
No, because the waterlogging, the rice stem is longer than 3 feet.
Oh.
Yeah, it comes out of the water and still gives us the rice. So it is all, it is all new things you learn. When you go there, you think you have to learn all this. Okay, so this river, Badak River, is the place where I went after Asimara. When we went there, 4 of us went from Asimara, 5 of them came from Dibrugarh, 3, 4 came from some other place, 3, 4 came like this. We were 17 young. Young means young. Young means not fully experienced in the war training at least. We knew how to fly, we knew how to do the thing, but we didn't know. So, as if the air headquarters knew that the war was coming, the pilots are required to fly, they put us together in Kumbhirgram, Silchar. And our CO had a tough job in hand. He had to plan every day whom to train on what. So we made a kind of timetable. This much of flying, this much is op training, this much is a night training, this much is a day training, this much is a helipad training, this much is there. We have, please note down if you want to, SHBO. SHBO is Special Heliborne Operations. Special Heliborne Operation, SHBO. So we were trained on SHBO. SHBO is we carry the people, quickly land, offload them, take off, come back, do the thing like this. When you do this, in a short span of time, we carry the 1 battalion, 1 company, 1 platoon, like that. So we carry like this. So this is the training which came in very handy during the war actually. Though we were not, in the pre-war period, we were not to do any of this. We were only to do 3 things. One is casualty evacuation. Bring the injured and wounded to the hospital. That is number 1. Number 2, VIP. VIP means the commander, the leader. He has to go from one theater of war to the other theater. Helicopter he can use. Number 2. Number 3 is emergency ration and emergency supply of arms and ammunition the helicopter is supposed to do. Only 3 things in our entire sheet of paper is written. These pilots of this squadron will do this. But what we did was more than these 3. What was that? When the army commanders, our Air Force commanders found that we could fly, we could carry without a mishap, without accidents, they said, let us carry. That's what I told you. I told you that this secret right in the beginning only. We carried the soldiers with their arms and ammunition. We carried them there. Infantry soldier, give them less chance to walk. They are very happy. Their entire strength is available for fighting. So wherever they went, in a place like Sylhet, we carried people. The Gurkha soldiers hadn't had food for 3 days. Okay, we dropped them. And then next 2 trips were to carry their further arms and ammunition and dry rations. Before the dry rations could go, the arms and ammunition could go, Pakistani made an attack on them. Imagine without the food for 3 days, the Gurkha rifle fellows, soldiers, attacked them and won the war. Won the battle there. This is the spirit we gave. We gave means by the act of airlifting them, that we gave them, yes, it is possible to do in the war situation. We can carry you. We can do this. So be ready. Anytime you want, we will come. So they said, if we can do it in Sylhet, we can do it in Brahmanbaria. Can you do it? He said, we did. Brahmanbaria, we did night and day, non-stop for 3 days. Then after that, when they said this, suddenly, now I will tell you something very, very serious. Note down the name called one General Sagat Singh. S-A-G-A-T, Sagat Singh. He is the one who was told, if you see the map of Bangladesh and Silchar, he was to go with his forces up to the river, not cross the river Meghna. But he said, I have already come here. I can't waste my manpower sitting idle. I want to cross Meghna. Senior officers to him said, don't do this because your job is not there. We will come from the north and fight. General Sagat Singh said, just relax people. I will do. Now I am in the field. I know what I am doing. So he said, can you do this? He looked at the helicopter guys and said, can you do this for us? let us cross the Meghna and go to Dhaka. He said yes, because we were waiting for the flight. We were in full josh. So we carried. That time we flew for 3+ days, day in and day out. Just the time for maintenance and the time for refueling was the only rest we had. Supposing one of us used to be tired, we used to get out, somebody else used to get inside and fly and come back. Pitch a dark night. No assurance of the landing area. No assurance of whether somebody is fighting there or not. Yes, we had some inputs, but at the same time, we could not be sure. But at the same time, we did it. So when I say all this, we said these are the training. What we did, SHBO training, was the one which made us do all this. That's why I'm giving you this kind of detailed explanation. SHBO is Special Heliborne Operations. Okay, and it is essentially done to give concentration of troops in a particular place. Okay, and this training was given, and the war, when it came, the war on the paper is for 13 days. But as far as we were concerned, the helicopters were concerned, we had been with the army from the month of April 1971 onwards. April 97 onwards, how many months? 6, 8, 10 months, isn't it? So 8 months we were with the army. We were fighting actually, but we shouldn't say on paper we were not fighting because we were not armed. Our helicopter didn't carry any offensive arms, but we were doing all kinds of juggleries, all kinds of on the border. We were carrying. Sagat Singh used to go deep into Pakistan, and we used to go drop them and then come back. Okay, and in south portion, in the southern present Bangladesh, that time East Pakistan, there's a place called Chittagong. There is a place called Rangamati. Next to Chittagong, there's a place called Rangamati. There was a big concentration of army, Pakistani army. So idea was to attack them then and there before the war itself. This is what we were doing that time. So we were doing the war. For us, the war was for 8 months. We are not talking about the training part of it. We are talking about the actual war we were doing. Okay. But on the war front, when we did the war front, our helicopters did not carry anything offensive. When I say offensive, we did not carry rockets, we did not carry rifles, we did not carry anything else. We were all unarmed. So technically, the helicopter can win a war without even fighting, without an offensive. How? Because you are giving all facility to the guys who are going to fight. So that is what our role was. That is what the aim in the battlefield was. What are you going to do? Can you do it fit and fine for the people as they are expecting? Yes, we said, yes, we will do it. And how? Thanks to the people, the senior officers who trained us. He says, things will change when you do night flying. Sometimes you have to fly at the grass level. Sometimes you have to fly at the tree level. Sometimes you have to fly at the cloud level. So be ready for all kinds of flying. And as you fly these, the landing, because helicopter, the landing is very important. Otherwise, when you land, they can't just jump out. People are not carrying parachutes. No, when we can't land, we did 5 feet above the ground hovering. Sometimes even 10 feet. People jumped out. They were so keyed up. They were so enthusiastic to fight the war because this much of facility was given to them. And we used to come a little closer and drop all their guns. They would drop all their rations and go. And they used to settle and fight. So one night I even spent in the war zone in the, what is it called? The place where you take shelter when the fighting goes on. Okay, so that is the place, is the war scenario. And now I have already told about the surrender. And surrender, they said it has to be done today. Please come and surrender all your people. So they said, okay, they accepted. Now, when you went there, I told you, Bangladesh, the Pakistani, it's not Bangladesh, it's Bengali. The Pakistani and the EBR, East Bengal Rifles. They were all there. Army looked after them, that all their arms and ammunition they were de-armed. But some of the people were allowed to keep some arms with them so that the Bengalis will not attack. Okay, now they had to look after General Arora was coming from Calcutta. General Jacob was already there. These people cannot be harmed at any cost, whatever the reason. So they had to protect them. And we were all there because we thought it was our right to go and see what's happening because we did the war. We made the surrender. So we all went there, or the entire squadron went there. Okay. And the order was only necessary people will go. But all of us went, right from the driver of the car up to the pilot, up to the CO, everyone went. So all of us have to be protected. But Army made a beautiful arrangements. Hats off to them. And it is in a time like this when they work hard and look after, that is the thing to be appreciated. And now I had a camera. I took photographs, no doubt about it. But what happens now? This is the month of January. In December, you know it, the sunset is very early. And Bangladesh, East Pakistan was already half an hour ahead of a local time. Okay, East Pakistan is half an hour ahead and West Pakistan is 1 hour behind. So between East Pakistan and West Pakistan, those days there was a difference of 1 hour in any case. So suddenly I realized the light was not enough. My flash, those days there was no automatic flash. We had some bulbs and things like that. So it was not possible. So I decided, let us leave the camera and go and see what they are going to do. Okay. There was not even a tablecloth. Imagine the situation on the table in which the gentleman signing the truce without a tablecloth, without a flower vase, without anything. And I will tell you something more, you will feel more funny. None of the pens they brought would write. Okay. Special pens were brought for the signature to be bad. The pen said, I am on the side of Pakistan. I am not going to write. Okay. Ultimately, the gentleman who had the mic in his hand, the photograph. Can you see the fellow who has got a mic in his hand?
Yes, sir.
He is the one who gave the pen that wrote. So these are all I am watching. Okay, from the rear. And then I am also reading that what is the script says. The truce pact says. Surrender ceremony was on the signing that. What is he signing? What is going to do? He signed unconditional surrender of all, whether he is armed, semi-armed or fully armed. When I say semi-armed, he is paramilitary, civil and the military soldier of Pakistani origin will surrender to the army of the Indian Republic. Okay, so this was the reason. This is the very few in life were privileged to see. I am so happy personally that I could see it and I enjoyed it. Okay, and I feel very honored that yes, not for the photograph, but I could see what was being done. What was the thing, whether you do it in a closed room or whether you do it in the open, in the race course, the ultimate thing is they surrendered and we saw the surrender. When General Niazi handed over the gun, the pistol, as a form of a symbolic surrender to this thing, many people said it was not his gun. It doesn't matter. Let it be anyone's gun. How does it matter? When he gave the pistol, he just gave his pistol and the honor along with it. Okay. So this was a pistol which was supposed to have been stolen from the Museum of Calcutta. Okay. But later on, the Niazi's gun was taken and kept in the museum, or the original, the genuine gun. Okay. So having been honored like this, we all returned and we had a good sleep. The next morning, somebody wakes me up. The Agartala terminal was full of people. Full means everyone sleeping peacefully because there is no fight, there is nothing there. somebody wakes me up and say, "Hey, Krish, boss wants you. What have you done?" So I don't know. I get up. What have I done? I must have done something stupid. So I go. No. He says, just go there and that only. So with a bleary eye, I'm going to the boss. Boss had a paper in his hand, and in that paper, the photograph has come. That particular day, the photograph has come in color, not the black and white photograph. It's a colored photograph. So what have we done? Look at this. That is the first time I saw the photograph, that I was photographed along with the big people. Yes, a privilege, an honor. Okay, for not only my family, the family in and around all of us here. When they see me, they give a beautiful laugh and they give a beautiful listening. Yes, sir, you are the hero. I said, no, I am the hero, no doubt, but not the way. I am not a chakra awardee ever anywhere. Okay, now anything more? We are. What is the time? It's now 5. Ah, any
Yeah,
particular question you want to ask? Anything you
no,
want to?
such a wonderful experience, sir. I mean, all of us are, like I always say, experience the experience of experiencing an experience. So it was such a wonderful experience listening to that, all those goosebump moment. I mean, whatever research you do, whatever material you study, whatever books on war you study, nothing comes like an experience from someone who was there at that iconic moment, and reading the fact and being there. As you rightly said, being in the photograph, probably, for us, it's a great thing, but probably for you, more than anything, you witnessed that thing, sir. That was so beautifully
Yes,
explained by
that
you.
is.
That's
Yes.
so beautifully explained.